just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 253. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by DraftKings. NBA All-Star break officially over. Nets and Knicks in action Thursday evening. The Nets host the Cleveland Cavaliers, while the New York Knicks host the Chicago Bulls. Feels like it's been a minute since both of these teams have played. The Knicks go into the All-Star break as the third seed. The Nets climbing into the playoff picture, and that is not hyperbole. They are there. They are in the play-in section, and the Nets could have a huge win versus the Cavs, Alex. And I expect the Knicks to beat up a really bad Bulls team. Nets continue to climb. I say that all tongue in cheek. So we'll talk a little Nets tank. We'll look at the Knicks in the second half of the season as they begin their real playoff surge. And good afternoon, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back. We needed a little bit of a little all-star break for ourselves last week, so sorry, no episode, but we're here and we're going to be doing this weekly as we always do. Mike, if I told you that somebody had a patellofemoral syndrome, what part of the body do you think that is?
The penis.
Close. It's the knee.
Okay.
And that's Josh Hart's right knee injury. And of course, all the Twitter doctors, and I mean like real doctors on Twitter, get on and give their opinions and
I hate that.
Dr. Joe from Cleveland or Dr. Joe from wherever the hell I'm saying Dr. Joe because it's the most.
I understand because they want to try to get some notoriety for themselves, but jumping in and then being a doctor on Twitter, you know how there's online doctors you can go to now,
right. WebMD also, yeah.
I'm just gonna go to my Twitter doctor and ask for advice, and so I could get a.
Right. This person has not looked at the body at all, doesn't know anything, is just going by their medical understanding of the injury and
with the video.
With the video, yeah. And then this guy, Brian Stutterer, is his name, MD. I'm sure he's a real doctor. He has MD there, so you never know. And it's blue check, so. But I'm kidding. Not a concern at all. He says should be fairly easy to load manage through the rest of the season. Essentially, it's pain that arises from poor load balance, too much or too little in the knee joint behind the kneecap. Very common. Treated with PT and sometimes taping/bracing. Very rare to need more aggressive treatment. So of course, he puts load manage in there, and you think did he do that on purpose?
Yes.
To get the views.
That's what I thought.
He's
great.
A doctor, but he's also looking to promote himself. So load manage, and then and he has 208,000 views from that, and it's like, Thibs in the load manage, he's not going to do that, and it just sets Twitter ablaze, and Knicks fans eat it all up because of course. When a Knicks player is hurt, it's Thibs' fault. But when a player on another team is hurt, it's not the coach's fault. So that's just how it works.
Thibs does have, and I do think that's true that fairly or unfairly. I think Thibs' reputation from his time in Chicago and Minnesota has been the recipe for the reason that people think that, right or wrong. Like I said, I mean, all of that with Josh's injury. Is it because he plays a lot of minutes? Possibly, probably. I also think he's the kind of player that he is a high energy guy too. Like when he's on the court, he gives everything he has. He's not someone like Mikal Bridges that just stands in the corner and waits for the ball. Like Josh actually gives energy.
Come on,
Josh. I'm giving Hart a compliment. Relax. Hart gives so much on the court, offensively and defensively, that I'm not surprised then, if you hear something like that. I mean, the guy gives everything he has.
Crashes the boards.
Yeah, he's the ultimate competitor. I was just trying to make a reference for something that isn't like that. But yeah, so I give him a lot of credit
when you can. I know. I get it.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. I didn't.
It took you 2 seconds too. You were like, "Wait a minute, asshole."
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's just, that's how it is. Some miserable fans are going to be miserable, and you can't help that. But I'm not letting it bring me down. I'm staying positive, and as long as the Knicks stay in the 3 seed and above, I'm not going to panic. Even if they go to 4, I'm not going to panic. They're not going to go to 4. You got the Nets playing the Cavs in Brooklyn tonight. Knicks playing Chicago. We're recording this on Thursday at the Garden, and then they both fly to Cleveland tomorrow to play the Cavs in Cleveland. Knicks play Cavs in Cleveland, which I don't understand why they don't just play the Knicks play the Cavs at the Garden and let the Cavs. I don't know why the Knicks and the Cavs are flying to Cleveland together. Maybe they'll share a plane. I don't know. That would be kind of funny and save some money, in the environment. And I don't know if you want to really get on a plane these days, so maybe less planes in the area, the better. So either way, Knicks Cavs Friday is a huge game, ESPN. So maybe Josh Hart's out for a day. Like, all right, let's not push this. I know you had a week off. Let's see you full. Let's get full strength at the Garden in Cleveland to play the Cavs in the big matchup between 1 and 3. Mitchell Robinson and OG may be back for that too, and let's roll.
Yeah, there's no way to know when it'll just be like off the on the report available. That's how it is. There's going to be nothing in between. You'll just find out and away you go with it. I was thinking a lot about the Cavs too because of Kenny Atkinson and how well he's coached and what he's done. I mean, you could argue that in terms of like coaches, I think he's going to win Coach of the Year. I think something would have to go catastrophically wrong in the second half of the season for the Cavs.
Lose 20 in a row or something.
But I think at 44 and 10. This a team that's going to win 60 plus games. I think he's going to win Coach of the Year. And I think about that because I'm thinking about the job that Jordi Fernandez has done with the Nets. And I think there's a lot of similarities in, how good of a coach Jordi has been so far. Like, it's hard to gauge him as a coach in a quote unquote big spot, right? Like, how does Jordi do when it's a big spot and rotations and timeouts and matchups and adjustments? We're not close to anywhere near that. But as far as getting the most out of the talent that is on your roster, I mean, he has done an A+ job with that. Obviously, if the Nets at 20 and 34 go into the All-Star break winning 6 of 7, and not to mention too, they have had so many injuries. It's not like this team has been healthy and has gone through an influx of changes. Now, I understand the frustration. I'm right there with you with the way D'Angelo Russell has been brought in and played well. Of course he did. I was saying I didn't think he would. I was wrong. Net fans will remind me of that every day. He's home. He loves it here, and he got a coach that's getting the best and the most out of him again. The Nets did not make deals and did not trade Cam Johnson. They did not trade Nick Claxton. They did not trade Cam Thomas if he was really even available, whatnot. But the point is, with all of that in mind, the Nets are there. And unfortunately, it's not good for the tank. And I'm not as concerned on this front, like if they're going to have a 9% chance or they're going to have a 14% chance of the number 1 pick. That's not a huge deal to me.
Right.
What's the bigger deal is you have increased your chances for 7 through 10, 8, 9, 10. If you're the 1, 2, or 3, you're going to land at 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. That's a guarantee. You're going to get a top player in this draft. But if you're the 7th pick, you're the 8th in the lottery, you could end up 10th or 11th. And that's more of my concern, is that they drop there and you can't have your cake and eat it too, where you're trading to get your picks back. As you're watching this on YouTube, my bed is moving.
It's
there. So just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Totally lost my train.
That's your son. That's Mike's son in the background under the blanket. Not, his bed isn't like possessed by a ghost. Well, I have a thought for you. Let me ask you.
But with that, you move back in the you move back in the draft. And what I was trying to say was, what was the point of getting your own draft picks back? If you're going to do this, you might as well just stay the course because the Suns' picks are only 3, 4, 5 picks worse.
Yeah. Well, let me paint this scenario for you, a picture for you, and tell me what you think. Nets get into the play-in tournament, somehow win and get to the 8th seed in the play-in tournament, or let's say the 7th. That would be even more fun. And they end up playing the Knicks in the first round. Will you be mad that you didn't get that? And somehow they scare the Knicks. Let's say, dare I say, take them to 6. Would you be happy that you got into the playoffs and had a fun series versus the Knicks in the first round, or are you like, damn, I wish we would have gotten a top 6 pick, in the draft?
Yeah, but I just don't think that scenario is even happening, right? They're not that good. They're not good enough to do that. They're just
what if they beat the Cavs in the first round?
They're not beating the. They're just not. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going into a series. How are they winning that series?
Yeah,
look at that matchup. I would feel better about playing out of all the 3 teams. and this has nothing to do. I'm just looking at based on how they've played against them. The Nets have played the Knicks close
Oh yeah,
all those
because
games.
they're not scared of the Knicks. Yeah, the
The
Nets are not
the
scared.
first game of the season, Brunson bailed them out on both games. Now, I've said before that you have a superstar player. That's what happens when the Nets had Kyrie and Durant. There was a lot of games that were like that, and the Nets had the better player and made the shot when
Got
it
all the calls, of course. Yeah,
didn't get all the stuff with all the call stuff. Oh my god, I've never seen a fan base complain more about the calls.
Ball was dislodged when Kyrie hit Randall's thing. It's bullshit. Yes.
The NBA
Randall
report
hit
said you're
Kyrie's ball.
wrong.
Yeah, well, that was bullshit.
But I would feel more comfortable with that. Like I think the Celtics would just eviscerate the Nets. Like I think they would manhandle them.
Yeah.
Cavs
Well,
as well.
Did the
The Knicks, I
give them
feel
a
like at least
problem,
I don't think
or-
they'd win, but I'd feel like they could be more competitive.
Got it. Well, the Nets gave the Celtics a problem before they made all the trades, and they still had Schroeder and all those guys, right? So it wasn't like it's not the same team they are now.
Then they also lost to them by 60. I mean, like when
Forgot
they were
about
just
that,
shooting threes, like it was shooting. You've seen it. I don't have to
Shoot
tell
around.
you.
Yeah,
When the
yeah.
Celtics get going, it is a problem.
It's just that, you don't even need to play. Even if you're playing defense, hand in the face doesn't matter. It's money. It's just like, oh my, it's the most frustrating. And then you think you get them, and you have defense, and you're playing well, and you collapse on them in the paint, and then they kick it out, and Al Horford's in the corner wide open.
Well,
it's just like motherfucker.
You tweeted something that it was,
Yeah.
last year you said I'm not afraid of the Celtics. You tweeted this year, I'd like to avoid them. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like
Two straight blowouts, man. I mean, I know it's a regular season, and regular season matchup doesn't mean head-to-head matchup totals doesn't mean anything when it comes to playoff time. Like the Knicks and the Hawks a couple of years ago, Knicks swept the Hawks in the regular season and then lost them in 5 in the first round. So it really doesn't matter. But the Celtics are such a machine, and they're out to prove that their title wasn't a fluke. And it's scary. I mean, once the series starts and the Knicks get healthy and we'll see what happens there. I'm still going to be confident, but I'd prefer to play the Cavs because I feel that the Cavs are more of this regular season monster until I see it in the playoffs.
Well, I agree. No, until you see it, you'd have to go with the Celtics.
It's not being
as the
afraid.
favorite.
It's not being afraid. It's more of I prefer the Cavs because it'd be a lot easier. That's all.
No, I just kind of think back to last year. It was like doesn't matter anytime, any place, who's on the court.
We never got the shot. I mean,
it seems like the language has changed a little bit from your end with that.
Well, yeah, I mean those two blowouts are dangerous, but let's see how the next 2 games go against them, and we'll see how that goes. And again, it's a regular season; it doesn't really mean anything. And like I'm saying, I'm not afraid. I just would prefer the Cavs in the second round, and then we'll take the Celtics. Last year, if the Knicks were healthy and they beat the Pacers, remember they're up 2-0, but they weren't even fully healthy when they were up 2-0, and then OG hurts his hamstring, and that was it. They were ready to play the Celtics, and then I was confident. I was like, wow, we're gonna win. We're going to the finals, but didn't happen. But real quick, I brought up the NBA Coach of the Year odds from the other gambling site, but I won't say that the other site, not DraftKings. So Kenny Atkinson is the favorite at -700 to win Coach of the Year, which is crazy. So bet $10 and you'll win $1.43.
Where is Jordy?
He is not in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's not in the top 10, which is surprising
the team's
to me.
not good. So I guess you can't really give Coach of the Year to a team that's 15 games under 500.
Right, but let's say the Nets make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like then it's like, all right, well then you could say he should get consideration, not win it, obviously. But maybe they can.
It just.
Who do you think is number 2? Just real quick.
Number 2, would have to be the OKC coach, whatever his name is.
No, he is 5th. Mark Dangnault. I don't know. Denault. Number 2 is Ime Udoka with the Rockets. How about that turnaround for him?
Done a good job.
Yeah,
although they've been struggling of late, but he's
Thibs
done a good
is 10.
job.
Thibs is 10 right now. And I don't know how JJ Redick's on this list at 7, which is insane. Whatever. But
why is that? He's done a great job.
I don't know. I don't think. I guess so. I just feel like the Lakers they're winning because of
they lost yesterday,
but
I think you have to give them credit.
Sorry,
I mean, last year,
you ever get that cramp in your foot where you just gotta move your foot and it feels like there's a ball moving in your foot.
Well, if you're sitting down, my feet have been falling asleep. I mean, he is he's done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was shitting on him when they got the hire, like, oh, no experience, this and that, and now there's crickets.
Right.
And crickets is a good thing because there's no one criticizing him. I mean, now when they get in the playoffs and there's a series and they have Luka now, there's obviously going to be a lot of eyeballs on him. Yeah, right now it's kind of like ho hum. He's done a good job. There's nothing to say.
That's
I'm not
true.
in the Laker day to day, so
No,
I don't
but
know
I just feel
exactly.
like
But
with that kind of talent, you know what I mean? It's just about a matter of if LeBron wants to play or not. You know what I mean? And I guess he did with JJ. So I guess there's if you really quick before we get off of this, if you bet on Kenny Atkinson before the season to win Coach of the Year, you would have gotten
yeah,
plus 2,500 odds, which is insane. And you'd be riding in the with your feet up right now and your hands behind your head, like, all right, we're winning money.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's the East is crazy with the Knicks in the 3 seed and the Nets rolling up the standings, and the Raptors are going to get a little better when they get Ingram, but they're not going to win a lot. He's still out, so the tank run is between who now. I mean, the bottom is obviously the Wizards. They're bottoming out. I mean, who else is there? So you got the Raptors, right? Let's pull up the standings. You got the Raptors and hold on, bear with us, guys. The Hornets, right? Okay,
Hornets
So
who
it's
beat
what?
Lakers
Right.
yesterday.
Washington,
Jazz.
Charlotte, Toronto, Brooklyn, Philly is the East, and then it's New Orleans, Utah, Portland, San Antonio, Phoenix in the West. Why don't you do your odds, your one sim.
Am I one sim? All
Yeah.
right, give me a second to pull this up.
Mike's gonna do his one sim on Tankathon, who has blocked me on Twitter, by the way, Tankathon, a Tankathon account, because I accuse them of always putting out the lottery odds of the Knicks not winning the lottery in 2019 because there were tweets of him saying, oh, if the
Oh my
Knicks are in
god.
this, I get more traffic. So I would expose him for that because I was just a dick. And it was really annoying that they were doing that, and then I got blocked. Whatever.
Sounds
Anyway,
right.
so here we go. One sim.
Okay.
Everybody knows the rules.
And just so people can see
Hackathon,
right now, the Nets would have this pick from New York.
the 27th
They have this pick from New York.
from 19,
This,
but via Milwaukee, the
and they
19th
have
pick.
this pick from Houston.
Houston is 24 now.
Denver's won 8 in a
So
row.
27, 24, and 19 the Nets have right now. And then their pick is right now at 7th. So Mike is going to sim the lottery now. We're on YouTube if you want to see this, or you can listen. We'll tell you what it is.
All right. Moved
And
up to
Brooklyn is
3.
moved up to 3rd in the draft. Washington wins the lottery. The Pelicans number 2. All right. You be happy with 3?
I think at this point, absolutely. Yeah.
You want that top 2, though, right? You want the top 2.
You want the
the
top
prizes.
one, but
Yeah,
I
but the
think
prizes are the
yeah,
top 2 with Bailey and
yeah,
Flag. Those are the guys, right? So
those are the guys. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not, there's not outright anger and rage. I can't manifest it and be fake about it and come on
right.
here and be like, I don't think this is the right plan of execution, but
What do you want them to do?
this is
though?
where they are. I mean, they're fucking winning basketball games, and like Nick Claxton, who was horrible to start the season, has been really good in the last couple of
Right.
weeks. Day'Ron Sharp's been really good the last couple of weeks. Cam Johnson's been solid. He's getting the most out of guys nobody's ever heard of until this season. I mean, there's a never heard of roster, and the Nets are doing a really good job with that. Cam
Yeah.
Thomas comes back. That gives them a little more scoring punch. Their defense has been awesome. That's why they're winning these games. They're holding opponents in this 6 out of 7 to like under 100 every game, and that's why they're going to win. And it's disgusting. Now it's like this would be the game. It's the first game post All-Star break. It's in Brooklyn. I don't think the Nets are going to win. But I don't think they're going to lose by 13 and a half. I think they lose by 6 to 8, and they keep it competitive, knowing this team.
That's the odds, 13.5 tonight.
I think they're 13 and a half. Yeah, something around there. I would like the Nets to cover.
13, yeah, 13 even. So yeah, I think
That's a
they would
lot
cover.
of points. I think post All-Star break,
Right.
and the
Yeah,
Nets
it
have
is.
played better basketball. That would surprise me.
Wow, Knicks minus 12.5 tonight versus the
Chicago's
Bulls.
horrible.
I know, but that's a lot. That's a big number. But anyway, yeah, I just I don't know. The Nets didn't make the full tank mode moves of dumping Cam Johnson for nothing and dumping D'Angelo Russell for nothing like the Knicks did with Shumpert and J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
So they chose this path to risk it all to hold on to Cam Johnson and D'Angelo Russell. Maybe nobody wanted D'Angelo Russell, to be fair, but Cam Johnson, somebody would have taken him for nothing. So
Oh no, I mean the Cam Johnson one, they went with they wanted a highest bid and they didn't get what they wanted, so they kept him. I have less of a problem keeping him than I do of the keeping D'Lo. D'Lo's
Yeah.
a free agent and he's just winning you games. He's
Right.
just winning you games. He's not part of your long-term plans. I could understand the argument that Cam Johnson is. He's just getting into his prime.
He's a
He's got a
piece for the
manageable
future.
contract for
Yeah.
how he's played. He's having a career year. Like he's a good piece to a championship team. D'Lo's not going to be here, so he's just winning you games. I think there's part of the Nets that just like they just like him, and they're just bad. They're just managing it poorly. They're
They
just
should buy him out.
mismanaging. They're just
Get
botching it from Joe Tsai to Sean Marks. They like
yeah.
the guy. He gives them, like, and it's just such short term viewing because during this win streak, the crowds have been good. There's like a little energy and a buzz, but it's just, it means nothing as opposed to just like, the boring Barclays Center for a year and bite your lips and get through it. Then it's a mistake. I mean, it's just it's a quantum mistake. Now
And then what
with your
happens when Cam
proposal
Thomas
of
comes back? Yeah. When
your
Cam Thomas
proposal of the Nets get to the first round and they beat the Knicks. Okay, yes, then I would like it. But on what planet is that happening?
Plus, yes, that'll make you happy, but you learn this with the McCann. We learn this. Everybody, like me, you, Evan, all these old school Nets fans, like you guys, that I learned from the Nets fan base. You guys would be happy the Nets beat the Knicks in the first round and they got there, but would the full Nets fan base be happy? Like, I don't think so. I don't think that would move them as much as, we think it would. I don't want to give the Knicks Mikal Bridges. And then it became, all right, well, we're happy they gave him the Knicks Mikal Bridges. I mean, because of the trade, obviously, and the
Right.
second trade, and the second trade on top of that, really.
Well, which now looks like a bad second trade. I mean, if this would be the ultimate screw up for the Nets.
Right.
If that trade, because they gave the pick to Houston, and let's say the Suns miss the playoffs, get in the lottery, and that pick hits at number 1, which the Nets owned, would be that would be the worst. That would be like worse than the Knicks winning a championship. Like that would be the worst. To see that pick that was redirected when your own tank not working go to Houston would and by the way would put Houston as instant title contenders and like right there.
Flag. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Which is nuts. Like OKC's got Sixers lottery pick, right? I mean, there's just so this is a very important lottery for the NBA in the shape of where it will go in the future. It really is. I mean, I guess you could say now I sound like, oh, there's a presidential election. This is the biggest one we've seen in our lifetime.
Every time,
But there's some truth to what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, every election is the biggest election of your life, vote or die, remember. But the NBA doesn't want to see Cooper Flag go to Washington. I'll tell you that right now. That would be very, very no buzz.
I think Brooklyn's the number 1 destination.
You think so?
On that list for the NBA.
Yeah, not New Orleans.
I mean,
not Toronto. Yeah, I guess so. San Antonio, I guess, if they win the lottery somehow.
I think that would be fun. I mean, Golden State's
like
there.
Fixed. Then it'd be like it's fixed. If San Antonio wins the lottery again.
Chicago's a good one.
Yeah. Would you imagine San Antonio with Darren Fox, Cooper Flag, and Wemby? That'd be crazy. Or Bailey.
No, as I said, it's transcended draft. But I think from a market perspective, Brooklyn would be the biggest. I mean,
because last year's draft was terrible. Like, I don't think many people can name last year's draft first round pick. I can't pronounce his name. Rasachi or Zachary.
He's had some moments, but yeah, this is.
And then what's his face with Washington is a good shot blocker. I forgot his name already. That's about it. I mean,
it hasn't been.
It seems like a bust. He's okay, and that's about it. you know, so. I mean, the best player in the draft might be Huck Porty on the Knicks, the last pick in the draft. You never know.
I don't think so. I'll be safe to say that.
Yes,
it's not going to happen. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. We'll see. NBA second half gets rolling tonight. It's good to have it back. Knicks home game versus the Bulls. If you're listening to this, you're probably listening after the Knicks win. And if you're listening to this, you're probably listening after the Nets lost. That's competitive.
Huge games coming up for the Knicks. You got the Bulls tonight, whatever. But then you have in Cleveland and in Boston. So what do you think? What do you think they do? Let's say they win tonight. What do they do? What do you think they do with the Cavs and Celtics?
I'll say they split.
You split? That's fair. Very, very political answer for you.
I mean, we'll see. I'm curious to see. I think it's a benchmark game. These regular season games are just benchmark learning experiences. I look at the Mets in 2015. The Cubs swept them. Now baseball's different.
Mets swept them, swept the Cubs.
But the Cubs swept the Mets in the regular season.
Oh, in the regular
Then the
season.
Mets
Okay,
go
yeah,
into the playoffs.
got
Daniel
it.
Murphy goes on his tear, and the Mets sweep the Cubs to go to the World Series. Now, I
Mhm.
think baseball is a very different sport where it's easier to do that than
Right.
the NBA. NBA, you don't get that as much because it just doesn't happen the way the league
Less than
works.
Knicks and Hawks a couple years ago with Trey Young.
So
They
it just
swept in the regular
it
season. Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
necessarily mean anything. Like that's why uh, I've said this before. I'll sound like a broken record, but when the Knicks have a great win or a great loss, it doesn't impact me in the feelings that it had in the past because I know once the playoffs start, that is all. What like the Knicks could be steamrolled by the Celtics, go and steal Game 1 in Boston, and your mindset is completely different,
Right,
completely
right.
different,
And
which is
they're
doable.
they're hearing the footsteps, and but I can just a world for you that would be beautiful is the Knicks win and lose the next three, lose to the Bulls, lose to the Cavs, lose to the Celtics Monday morning. You see Knicks Twitter just on fire. You would just be like,
Oh,
"This
I
is the
would
best
enjoy
thing
it.
ever."
But I would know because I would know what it's about. I mean, what I'm really rooting for right now
Right?
is the Knicks Bucks 3-6 matchup because then one of those teams is going to have a pick that's low
Yeah,
and it will go to
yeah.
the Nets. And you're guaranteed to have like a 15th, 16th pick. And that, minus the Bucks having some sort of collapse, which I don't think they're very good, but on the record saying I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're the top three team.
Well,
It's
you
kind
know
of what
what?
you're rooting for.
The Knicks are only 2.5 away from the Celtics. And then they don't play the Celtics or the Cavs till like the last week of the season. So this is the last time really when it quote unquote matters in the regular last week of the season. Everybody's going to be packing
Yeah.
it in and taking a rest and whatever. I'm sure everybody would be clinched, but especially the top three teams with the Knicks, Celtics, and Cavs because the Pacers and the Bucks are going to fall a little bit further. I mean the Pacers are on fire, but Knicks beat them. But anyway, so I just feel that the Man, I think that these two games are huge. I think it's huge just for positivity surrounding the franchise. If you get
Yeah.
Mitch, OG, and Josh Hart healthy and the Knicks win the two games against the Cavs and the Celtics, you are going to see the team's fan base just be on fire. Everybody's just going to be on fire. The cocky Nick fan is going to be back, and Mike's going to hate it. Nets fans are going to cry, and they're going to make the
Stop it.
play-in tournament. They're going to be out of the lottery, and it's just all's going to be right in the world, and the Knicks are going to be rolling. But on the flip side, if the Knicks lose to the Cavs and the Celtics this weekend, it's gonna be disaster. It's gonna be negativity. It's gonna be the worst thing ever for a
Yeah.
little while because the Knicks don't play again until about like Wednesday, and then play the Sixers. So that'll be tough. That's gonna be a tough couple days, So
Well,
hold on to your butts, as Samuel L. Jackson said in Jurassic Park.
we'll find out what happens on the next episode of Bad Weather. Well, you won't find out what happens on the next episode of Bad Weather Fans. You'll find out in real time when you watch the games or you just
No,
watching the
don't watch the
scoreboard.
games and just wait for our episode,
It's like
and then we'll
sim.
tell
It's
you
like
what
a
happened.
yeah, like when you were your kid, you had to open the newspaper to see if the Mets won on the West Coast versus the Dodgers. But then it
Right.
wouldn't update in the standings, and it drove you
No.
crazy. Now I
Yeah.
think about it, and I'm probably like whoever was writing that article probably hated West Coast trips. That's how I think of it as an adult, not a
No.
12-year-old who didn't give
You
a
used to
shit.
listen to WFAN or 1010 wins in the morning to get how if the Mets won on the West Coast or the Knicks won on the West Coast the night before because it didn't say it in the paper. So
This has been Bad Weather Fans. Alex, I probably have to roll. If
all
you've been
good.
watching this on YouTube, I apologize for the distractions in the background and the moving blankets. But yeah, that's it. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Check out our channel. We'll have a good
Yep,
time.
that's it. Yeah, I guess I got nothing
That's
else
it.
to
That's a
say,
great
huh?
close. I'm sending
Yeah.
that on my resume reel to people. That's how I close shows. That's it.
Well,
Bye.
that's it.
That's it. That's all you
Start with
get.
that's right and end with that's it. That's what we
That's
do
right.
on this
That's
show.
it. I think you know what? I might steal
That's a
that.
good one. Yeah.
All right, Alex. Good to see your face. Good to see
That's
you.
it.
And
All right.
we'll talk to you later. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.